And good morning. Welcome to Tea and Conversation Live this morning. Yes, thank you so much for jumping on with us this morning. I am excited about it. This morning, I have on with me one of my good brothers here in the city, Elder, Chief Elder Horace Canty. I call him Brother Canty. I've known him for a number of years. He has been pouring into so many people, definitely the young people, giving so much great knowledge, information, and just has been a jewel in our community. He has also been a contributor from time to time, tea and conversation. He used to be a regular. He used to be a regular tea and conversation, giving so much information, educating us on a number of things. Good morning, brother Canty. How you doing this morning?
Grand rising to the goddess this morning, grand rising to the goddess. All is well. All is well. The ancestors have given us another great day to overcome the things of the universe. We are the universe, so we must learn how to overcome self.
Yes, yes, yes. That leads me into, we've been talking um, for the last number of years, but we was chit chatting earlier in reference to going into 2025 and what we should and should not be doing. And we don't want to tell people what they should or should not be doing, but how to stay focused and how to allow the universe to guide us. So what do you say to that? And I know uh, a number of things that you have proposed in the belief. So what do you say to that?
Well, first and foremost, my sister, is that we as a people fail to realize the power that we have within oneself. We fail to realize that we are creation and nothing on this planet could operate without us. Totally impossible. And I get the facts that people believe, but believe does not weigh against fact. Proven fact shows that we are brilliant people. We are very educated if we use our brain to the right capacity. There's nothing that we cannot do because we have done it all. According
Mhm.
to history, proven fact, we have done it all. From the inventions to the creations to the first number of things, surgery, open heart surgery, eye surgery, building the computer that we're talking on, this phone that we're talking on, the system that's operating right now up in the sky somewhere. We had the plans, and we're the ones that put it there.
Yes.
So I'm looking at 2025 as if the biggest word in the dictionary is if we was to come together as one and believe in oneself and know that it takes one to help one. I need you just as much as you would need me. And for all those that might be listening, we need each other. This planet doesn't operate without us. Totally impossible. It's been proven already. But do they see it?
Mm. Yes, absolutely. We just come off of February, which is slated for Black History Month. And I know that people say, Black History Month is every day. And I truly believe that. But not every, but the Hispanics has their month and a number of others have their month as well. But February, Black History Month, we just come off of Black History Month. And how important is it to learn our history at a young age to go forward and be the best that you can be? Because a lot of history I didn't learn until I was much older, truth be told. And being able to wrap my head around so much of our history and so much greatness has been somewhat overwhelming from time to time, trying to consume it. So, how important is it for us to teach our young people our history and our strength at a younger age?
I am truly so glad you asked that question. I believe in the rites of passage. In the rites of passage,
Mm,
we take our youth, and I'm saying at the age of 4 years old, and we
yes.
begin to train them in being a, I'm trying to look at the right word to put, but we begin to
Mm-hmm.
train them in being a young man at the age of 4, allowing them to be children now. Let's not get it wrong. But we're training them to be kings and leaders. We're training them to be skillful. We're training them in the arts of building, creating, nourishment. You know, we're nourishing them into health. We're teaching them about the land. We're teaching them about growing your own crops, building your own buildings,
Mm-hmm.
educating themselves. So when they get to the age of 7, 8, and 9, their mind is already wrapped around being someone that can be the president of a group of the world,
Mm-hmm.
that can be a CEO of their own company. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying rites of passage for the reason because that's what they do back in the motherland. They train their children young. I have a counterpart, a good friend of mine. He's a surgeon, he's a doctor, a dental doctor, root canal. His name is Dr. Duo Obatebi, and he's from Nigeria. And all he does is root canal. Now he's a master in dentistry,
Mm-hmm.
but we talk very often about things. And as they were growing up as children, their parents installed in them professional things of life. When they came over to the United States, well, he went to England first, and then he came to the United States. But when they sent him out of Africa, he had already had a mindset of being a doctor. His wife is a lawyer. All of his children are professionals. This is
Mm-hmm.
something that they instilled in their children to be professionals, to have their own businesses, to open up big, big, big businesses, franchises, and everything else. We don't teach our children that for some odd reason. And it's not that we don't know, but many of us wasn't raised that way. That we be truth is told. Our parents didn't even know really what a bank account was about. Most of our parents didn't know how to really save, but they knew how to manage the house, and they got it from their parents. So we had to come to a point of cutting and breaking the cycle of,
Mm-hmm.
well, grandma did it, it's okay. Grandma did not know what we know today, unfortunately. And they did a great job raising us. You know, we never
Mm-hmm.
knew we were poor. We didn't know the word poor means. We didn't know we were poor. We ate every day. We might have had holes in our shoes, but we had shoes. So there's a lot of things that we never knew growing up, but we've had a good life, most of us.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because I was privileged to have mom and dad all my life. I
Mm-hmm.
was privileged to know that dad was the breadwinner, mom never had to work a day in her life and raise 2 kids. But I came to a point in life that as a licensed ordained preacher, I had to go through some things in life. And we have to see that
Mm-hmm.
there can change in a diaspora of people like as we are in our circle. We can change. We can learn to love each other, but we first have to learn to love thyself. and know what the word actually means. Because we all use
Right.
it. But do we know the meaning of love? True meaning.
Hmm. So, what do you say to our elders that have a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, a lot of history, more so history, um, that have grandchildren and should be sharing information? Because I know for me, my mom did not share a lot of history. My dad didn't share a lot of history. I don't know if they um, did not know a lot of history, but it was not shared under our roof.
Well, that's a hard one because most of our seniors that are in the age bracket of 60 and above
Hmm.
have already have their minds made up that this is the way I'm going to live, this is the way I'm going to die. You know, but it's so important to share your life story with young generation.
Hmm.
I do this with my grandson that's here, which Tahir Ramsey, which I do it with him all the time. I tell him where I come from. I tell him my life story. Um, and I try to be as transparent as possible. I've shared my life story every time I do a seminar. I will share my life story because of the fact that I want people to know that what you're seeing now is after the fact. What you're looking at right now is after, because I experienced death on 3 occasions. I still got bullets in my body.
Hmm.
I've been in 3 shootouts that I was not wanting to be in. I've
Hmm.
been through 27 years of addiction. I've been through incarceration because of my addiction. I've been through homelessness because of my addiction. Now I live in the what they call the house with the white picket fence, but my fence is not white. I had to paint them. I didn't want white around my house. I'm just being straight out. I didn't want no white picket fence. I wanted picket fence, but they had to have color to them. But
Hmm.
long story short, I've been through hell and back because of the decisions I made.
Hmm.
Not peer pressure. None of my friends pressured me into using drugs. None of my friends pressured me into skipping school. None of my friends pressured me into not doing what my mother or father said to do. So it wasn't no peer pressure. It was just seeing things, wanting to do them, and felt that you can get away without getting caught.
Hmm.
When you got caught, you have to admit it was your fault. You did it.
Right. Right. And even with that being said, um, is when we are in front of young people, when you say, you share your story with your grandson and probably many other young people, is that painting the picture that life is ups and downs. Life is not easy. Um,
Yeah.
even once we become adults, uh, there's a lot of ups and downs once we become an adult, uh,
Yeah.
that sometimes overshadowed the experiences of being a child. Once you do become an adult, the responsibilities are overwhelming sometimes for some people, and trying to keep balance, trying to stay on the right track. Even as an adult, you have peer pressure of people are around you. So we think that peer pressure leaves us once we are children, but we become adults, and the people that we are around are the people that sometimes we become. It's still iron sharpen iron,
Yes.
and those influences can change as well. You can still go down a path that you may not have wanted to go down, but you have been pressured by your 35-year-old friend or your 40-year-old friend. Some people stay on paths a long, long time, and just sharing real truth, real live truths of life. And I, when I talk to young people, I make sure that I give that story as well, because it's not a smooth path. Life is not that.
Well, I always say we live in the matrix. And living in
Mm-hmm.
the matrix is like playing Monopoly.
Yeah.
It's a game that no one learns to master, but we're never too late to learn something else new. I love
Yes.
learning from people. I tell our barbershop talk, we have that, usually once a month or a barbershop. I say the same thing to the younger generation in there as I do all of my apprentices. We need to realize that there will be dark days, there will be some tsunamis, there will be some joyful days, there will be some mourning days. But in the midst of those days, you can see that I survived for a reason and for a purpose. We are purposely
Yes.
here this month. This is not
Yes.
accidentally being on Candy Loki in conversation.
Yes.
It's not an accident. This
Yes.
is divine intervention at this time. Because we sometimes can't accept the fact that what we believe could have been wrong. We can't accept the fact. I said this
Mm.
to my son one day. What if at the age of 60 or more, you find out that the parents we called mommy and daddy really was not our mother and father?
Mm-hmm.
What if they was really auntie and uncle?
Mm-hmm.
What if they didn't want to tell us the true story about our father or our mother? And they
Yeah.
kept it hidden from us all their lives. They swore to their grave they would not tell us that we didn't belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think about a lot of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful today that bringing bringing my life to a place where it is today. I look back at my life, and all I can do literally is cry and say thank you, because there's a lot of things today that I paid no attention to as I was growing up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I look at these videos and stuff today, and I scratch my head. I'm wondering how could a person stand here and film people fighting like they're fighting and not intervene to try to stop it? How
Mm-hmm.
do y'all see 10 people jumping one person and laughing about filming it when that one
Mm-hmm.
person could have been you?
Correct.
I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not getting this. But I do know that in this day and age, 2025 is about to bring a lot of changes that our people will have to wake up and smell the real coffee. And I believe that comes with
Mm-hmm.
unity in the community. First and foremost, unity in your community. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
afraid to tell them, young men, no, I don't. You can't do that over here. I don't want that over here by my house. Don't be afraid. according to Scripture, God did not give you the spirit of fear, but of peace, love, and a sound mind. Now, I will give people the book back, but unfortunately, I don't even think they believe the book.
I say it all the time. I say it all the time. I don't think most believe the book. I believe that most do not abide by the book. So I'm glad you said that, because I think that quite often. I think um, most just live life and just go through their journey. And once they find themselves in definitely in awful health spaces, that's when they scratch the surface and try to get back into the book. But I say that all the time. I just don't think that most are in it. Mm, wow.
Well, I believe that it's been a blueprint for most people, for a lot of people. Let me just skip real quick through that. I believe that the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, I believe that they all is a blueprint for those people to have a grip on self and get a guidance of their lives. But you can't hold fast because it is the greatest story ever told. You can't hold fast
Yes.
because even in the book itself, I used to always talk about passages about slavery, and I would ask the question, why would my Creator create me to be a slave to a group of people when I am creation from day one?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of questions that I used to ask myself, and I've gotten the answers, but I don't think it's the time to really explain it because most folks wouldn't get it. But
Mm-hmm.
I always say that if Scripture says to study to show thyself approved, a workman need not be ashamed to rightly divide the word of truth. It is totally impossible for us to divide truth. We were all lied to when we came out of our mother's womb.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know what truth is.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, who knows what truth is?
Mm-hmm. I I I concur to that, because um, if we are true and honest on it, I see that Tanya Gay Jackson, that's on with us quite often. She said verbal only and no action. And I do believe verbal only and no action. I've been around verbal only and no action my entire life. And it disturbs me sometimes, but I have to just continue to go on with my walk. Um, and growing up in spaces where you saw it was only verbal and no action, do as I say, not as I do, still stands today. That's why I think we're in some of the spaces that we're in across our city, is because we have, quote, adult people saying, do as I say and not as I do. And we all know that children, whatever it is that they see, is what they do. That is their
Amen.
action.
Yes.
Uh-huh. If you can expound on that.
Well, being an example of that for myself, I used to tell people growing up that my dad never used profanity in the home.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard profanity in my house. My dad nor my mom, well, my mom didn't use profanity. And the only time I've heard profanity was my dad playing cards with his buddies outside in the parking lot, drinking their liquor and doing what they do. So I wasn't raised in a house with a lot of turmoil. But then I realized with some of my friends I grew up with, that's all they do in their house was turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that my friend's real name was what it was because his mother called him everything but his name.
Mm-hmm.
And there's children today that's growing up that way, but then you'll hear the parents saying, well, don't you F and F and F this, that, and then they tell them, and I don't want to hear you cursing.
Correct. Correct and correct. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, generation that's coming up now is actually raising themselves. I have to
Mm-hmm.
be real. They are actually raising themselves. I tell my son all the time, Terrence Ramsey, the pineapple himself. I tell him a lot of times, son, you can't know how to be a father because being a father is an on-the-job training thing. Especially if you didn't have your
Mm-hmm.
father in your life that led by an example of being a real, true father to a child or a mother, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say I'm going to be a father to my son when you really don't know how. So allow people that know how to try to show you and help you with this course, because it's not going to be an easy
Mm-hmm.
course at all. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very hard course. We get smacked, even as adults, we get smacked in the face with things today we ain't never seen before. We never heard of people doing like that. Never seen a child reacting like that. So I always express to him that take everything that your parents have shown you, which me and the Queen consider ourselves as parents also. But take what we're saying from experience.
Mm-hmm.
This is an experience that we have experienced. Not saying you have to use it,
Mm-hmm.
but at least take it in mind that if I try to do it this way, or at least ask for help, I might come out without so many whirlwinds in my life, so many spin arounds, so many downfalls, so many hurtful situations, things that I walked into a brick wall that I could have avoided if I was to step back and ask God, Mommy, Candy, Love, how would you do this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, even when you say that, let me say to everyone that have jumped on with us, we have a number of people on: Artesia, Staley, Leroy, Tanya, Tawanda, and a number of others that have jumped on with us this morning. And they are all friends of ours. Um, you're on with us on Team Conversation Live. And I'm always grateful for people that come on with us, want to listen, and those that come to Tea and Conversation every second and fourth Saturday at Al's Finger Licking Good Soul Food. We have our Black Business Bus Tour coming on April 19th. Seats are only $20 if you would like to be a part of the Black Business Bus Tour. If you also like to be a vendor, you're welcome to contact me at 813-394-6363. Again, that number is 813-394-6363. If you would like to sponsor our Black Business Bus Tour, you're welcome to do so as well. I have on one of our sponsor shirt this morning, the umbrella, unique umbrella effect, Kathy Hair, and also vertical renewal and blue skies insurance solution. Also, we have as our one of our sponsors with us, um, dedicated seniors in our community, and a number of partners as well: Grow My Giving, Hands of Hope Sickle Cell Awareness, NAACP, our Madam President Yvette Lewis, and Hillsborough County Hillsborough County Black Chamber as well. And I'm always grateful for those that see the vision, understand the vision, and want to move forward with us with the Black Business Bus Tour. Again, that's April 19th. And if you like more information about that, you can call me at 813-394-6363. Let me say, Brother Canty, I often say this, and I've been saying it forever at Tea and Conversation, is that, we often say this, is that, one generation, we did not, I'm 61 years old, and our generation didn't do certain things. I remember my generation doing a lot of things. I remember my generation just about to fall off the cliff. I remember my grandmother um, talking about a lot of things that we were doing and should not have been doing. I remember my grandmother telling me stories about my mom and her sister and that generation and what they was doing and how they was doing. And I remember, how we say, I don't remember being poor. I don't quote remember being poor, but I do remember children in the neighborhood that was less fortunate than our house.
Yeah.
A couple of those neighbors that was friends of mine, their parents had a lot more children, and I don't remember a daddy under the roof. Does not mean that dad did not come by, but I just don't remember a dad under the roof. And
Yeah.
so I do remember um, hard times. Hard times has always been around in our communities. Trying to make ends meet has always been around in our community. Um, I remember families being evicted and their things out as a little girl and didn't understand why their mattresses was outside in our neighborhood. So I remember hard times. Knowing those hard times always gave me the push to uh, take care of my children the best that I could. And what I did not want in my life, I tried to avoid. Not meaning that those things was not going to come. I think that sometimes it equipped me to be able to handle it just a little bit better when it came. It also allowed me, whenever my nieces or my nephews needed some advice, I was able to give it to them. But this is one thing I know for sure. Even young people, they're going to step out in that water anyway. Sometimes they may drown and have to come back. Some may go out halfway and come back because my mom and my grandparents and my dad told me a lot of things. And I still tested the water on a number of those things. I tested the water on a number of those things. And I think that brings about life. That's where that wisdom come in. You don't become 60, 70, 80 years old without the ups and the downs. That hard-headedness becomes real when we look back when we are 60, 70, and 80 years old. Because that do as I say, not as I do, becomes real because I did a lot of things that they said not to do. Yeah, I did that. And my peers during that time, they were doing it as well until that light bulb does come on. Sometimes it comes on early, sometimes it comes on later. Some people have different experiences and roads that they have to go down before they're on whatever we call the right path. My children often say to me, "Why you just think you just so right?" But my so right has only come with experience that I'm also able to share it with them that I did it this way. And that's why I'm at this space and I'm trying to keep you from going down that same road. But this is what I've learned, Brother Canty, is that they all have to go down a road to create their own experiences, and they all them as time go on.
Yeah. That is so important to put out there because as you were speaking, I started remembering times growing up, like you said, I didn't know I was poor. I didn't, because like I said, we had food to eat. You know, I grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in the projects. So, and my building was 144 apartments. Okay, I was on the 12th floor. There's 14 floors in our building. And we grew up going in and out of each other's house, playing. This is how we grew up in the neighborhood and community and stuff. And look, there's some people's house you went to, you was like, you really didn't even want to sit down, because of the roaches and things in that nature. And
Yes.
you knew they were going through things. You didn't know what they were going through because you were young.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't identify what they were going through with, but we knew they were going through something because they were a little bit different. We knew daddy wasn't in the house. We knew mama wasn't really working. They was on public assistance. So we knew that. The reason I said we didn't know we was poor because we would never want public assistance because dad worked all the time. So it wasn't the fact that we wasn't, but as far as growing up, we couldn't identify with being that.
Mm-hmm.
So we all, like you say, we all went down the path because mom and dad always said what not to do, what not to do, what not to do. I was the one that went out and said, okay. I started in junior high school drinking and smoking.
Hey,
Junior high school.
yeah. Let me say, my grandmother did snuff, ceasing, and we were in the car, and I was sitting in the back seat, and I got a dip of her snuff and put it in my mouth just the way she did. I watched her so many times, so I thought in my mind I was a pro at it because I knew just where to put it. You take the little cap and put it right in there, and boy, oh boy, it didn't take long, Brother Canty. I was lying on the seat in the back, and I couldn't get up. It's like it just took all the life out of me, and I was at a stupor, at a drunk state, and I never done snuff again, never dipped snuff again. And I was around, my grandparents, they did drink, and my grandmother loved using profanity. My mother does not use profanity and never drank. And certain things, I just didn't go past, I didn't go down. But I tried some snuff. Oh,
Won't
God.
try that. But
No,
see, that's
absolutely not.
like we all. I have to say we all, everyone that's breathing, has something that
Yeah.
they have done that they knew they should not have done, or they tried it out, they didn't like it. You know,
Yeah.
I laugh with my queen sometimes because we talked about past and growing up and stuff, and you know fortunately they tried different things growing up here. Tried smoking weed, didn't work, didn't like it. Tried smoking cigarette, didn't like it. You know, you drank a while, it kind of got you halfway there. Possibly, you drink a little of this, you drink a little, you mix drinks, and then you try another drink, and now you're in this era of cocaine. So I always go through the eras of my life. Junior high school was drinking, and then started smoking marijuana. Then go up to high school, you smoking marijuana, you drinking. Now you're trying this cocaine stuff up your nose. And they're not accelerated. From doing all of those there, next you know you're freebasing. See, we called it
Right.
freebasing when they started calling it crack.
Mm-hmm.
So those things started going through my life, and I started excelling in those things more so. Always kept a job because I knew if I needed money to drive I had a car since I was in 11th grade. So
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed that, my great aunt had left me a big sum of money and my dad bought me a car. But I had to build the engine in order to get the car to work. That was my
Uh-huh.
penalty. So he said, you want a car, you can have it, but the engine has to be rebuilt. So that taught me my mechanic skills. So I learned growing up that every one of us go through something. I had a friend that never drank, never
Mm-hmm.
smoked, and it's strange because, as far as we know, he never had any sex until we don't even know because that's what he was. He played
Yeah.
basketball all the time.
Yeah. It's always a
So
straight and narrow one.
yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. But um, these things happen, and I expect everyone to go through things. I always tell my grandson, you can't out slick the slick. I'm a New York City slicker, so you can't out slick the slick. But I know
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna try it. I know you're going to try it because I tried.
Yeah.
Mama said no, Dad said no, but I still tried it. I want to see for myself why you were saying no.
Right.
There's another one
Right.
that I share one. Yeah, there's another one that I used to share, but we're on air. I can't share it the way I want to share it. So, but Dad used to say certain things to me. I couldn't wait to go do this because he used to say, "Don't do it." And when I found out why, I was like, "Oh boy."
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that our young people will experience, and I just my prayers, my decree to the ancestors is that they wake up before it's too late. That they're willing to take advice from someone that might be able to steer them down the right path instead of the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the
Right.
things that I decree every day.
Right. Brother, I wanna shift right quick with the little time that we have. I love that symbol behind you. If you can give us a little history of that symbol for those that do not know, that wonderful symbol that is behind you.
Well, that is the Ankh.
Mm-hmm.
The Ankh, they say it is called the key of life.
Mm-hmm.
The key of life has many meanings to it. The When I first acknowledged what the key of life was, it was taught to me that it was the true Trinity: mother, father, and child.
Mm-hmm.
The ovary part of it is the ovary of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
The long fattest that directly into the ovary is the fattest of a man, and the cross is the birth of the child.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually given to us through our ancestors. And if everybody looks at every movie you see dealing with what they call Egypt, which is nothing but Africa, but they're not Egyptians, they are Africans. But if you look at every
Mm-hmm.
movie, you'll see that symbol somewhere in every single movie you ever see because it is primarily the key of life.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, we as the people, indigenous people of this land, is creation.
Mm-hmm.
Planet that they call Earth, its habitat, and everything in it, and everyone in it, started out looking like me and Candy, the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I say fortunately, not I used to say unfortunately, but fortunately, there's no such thing as a pure white person on the planet called Earth because of the fact that they
Mm-hmm.
came out of your great grandparents giving birth to albino. There are other stories
Mm-hmm.
about it. There's stories saying they were made up in a lab and all that other things, but I don't know those stories. I know the ones that I was taught by Dr. John Henry Clark and those other scholars.
Yep.
Even my brother Cliff Williams Jr. I mean, these are things
Yes.
that I learned because I wanted to know. I wanted to know. As a preacher, I wanted to know why is it that when I read the Quran, it was so much comparison to the Bible,
Correct.
other than names. Stories are same. You read the Torah, the stories are the same, names are different. And then when I found the King James 1611 version of the Bible, it didn't have
Mm-hmm.
Jesus in it. It had Isa. So that one little thing there, the unk, got me doing research and history about my life and who I was.
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting, and I encourage, matter of fact, all of my apprentices learn about that in my eye. I tell them, look up the word my eye. You will see the justice, reciprocity, balance of life. All of that is in my eye. That's how we govern this planet as a people. When we ruled this planet Earth as a people, we ruled it under the principles of my eye.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to have shit.
Yes, give us the principles, brother Canty.
The principles of my eye is love, balance,
Mm-hmm.
reciprocity. Um, come on. Why are you thinking this? Honor and
Mm-hmm.
respect. Not in that order. They can be framed around those concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, we need to know that we are more than what we think we are.
Mm.
I am the universe. Everything in the elements of the air that I breathe is in me. I am the I am that I am.
Yes.
Because I am. Because you are.
Yes.
Richest thing I have with me today is this melanin that's running through my skin. Oh, and what's going through my spirit as we speak right now.
Mm-hmm.
It continues to feed us, and we stand out in sun to get our vitamin D, vitamin D. We ground our feet to the ground in the grass. We get all sorts of energy. You rest yourself against a tree and just look up into the sky and embrace all the ancestors that has given us all the power and authority that we have today. We are so, oh, I don't know about you, but I'm so grateful to know that if I didn't study to show myself before, I would
Yes.
not be able to divide any sort of truth that I say fact is behind. I don't believe
Absolutely.
what I'm saying. I have factual proof of what I say.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a scholar or a not a scholar. I'm not a articulate speaker. But I do know that what's inside of all of us, we all do have it. If we tap into that third, gotta open up
Mm-hmm.
that perineal gland. Gotta open up that third eye to be able to see the eye of
Mm-hmm.
Haru, what they call
Mm-hmm.
it. And you realize that you are the sons and daughters of the Creator.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know when I first met you many years ago, you talked about the third eye. Um, I was trying to think how long ago uh, was it when uh, you and the other brother started
Yes,
coming
brother
to tea and
Cliff.
conversation. Yeah, brother Cliff.
It,
Was
it,
it when we were off Nebraska?
yes, it was. That was when we
Okay.
started out on the. Yeah.
Okay. So it's been way
We used to
over a
bring his
decade.
dad. And we used to bring his dad at the time. Just
Yes, 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 yes. So that's been way over a decade. And I remember you all giving such powerful information and talk about the third eye and explain what all of that meant. And it and once you hear it, you may not want to go and research it right away. But once you start hearing it over and over again, you say it must be something to that. And that's what happened to me is hearing it. And I remember you all coming over to Elder Davis Church and speaking. And we were speaking to Christian people at, elders that was going to church, older people in church, and trying to encourage, just think a little more, have a little open, be a little more open to the message. And I think that, once people hear it over and over, they're more likely to start doing their own research. And that's what uh, you and Brother Cliff did for me years ago.
well, it opens up your chakra. We have that stage. When they see that yoga thing with the different colors going up and down, that top chakra is that third eye. And
Yes.
once we start realizing that, we can start aligning ourselves up with the universe, with the air that we breathe. Learn how to breathe. So we really have to learn how to breathe
Mm-hmm.
properly. I used to say, breathe in through your nose
Mm-hmm.
and out through your mouth. And believe it or not, if you really take those deep
Yes.
breaths in the morning and let it out,
Yes.
take it in, let it out. Oh, your whole body and everything, you can feel. Oh, I'm just doing it now, feeling the energy. But you can feel the energy go through you. Learning how to breathe is
Mm-hmm.
important. Learning how to sit posture wise. A lot of times people don't
Yeah.
realize the posture of a chair is meant
Mm-hmm.
for us to have an arch in our back, even though
Correct.
the chair is
Brings about correct. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yes. It's about an alignment. And you mentioned energy, and I am such a connect with energy kind of person, and connect with all of the things that are around me, the earth, the sun, the moon, the trees, the light, the grass, the birds, the squirrels, the connecting to all of the things that the creator has put on this earth this day for me to just really feel my chakras and feel my energy and feel all the things that are around me. And I know that some people get there and some people never get there, and some people are just right there.
Just starting to get there. I
Mm-hmm.
encourage people to take time for that meditation. Take time out.
Mm,
Do some me time.
yes.
Many of us don't do me time. You got to do a me time. Just you. I mean, if it's in the tub, taking a nice hot bath, drinking a little wine, listening to some jazz or some
Yeah.
poetry, take a
Yes.
me time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my queen because we make it our business. So once a week we have me time.
Yes.
Once a week we have me time. Once a month we have outings with each other. Because there's so much things going on. But when
Mm-hmm.
you retire, like we are, you can do it when you want to do it. If you want to do it, if you don't want to do it, fine. If you want to get out the bed, fine. If you don't, fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, even when you mention music with your beautiful queen, how that makes a difference. I know for me, when I'm in a space of Al Jarreau, Will Downing, uh, Najee, Kenny, any of those spaces, it brings on a like a whirlwind of calmness to my spirit, and it just makes my footsteps lighter.
Yes, yes. And you know, I always tease the young people now. I said, see, in our days, our music was all about love. You know,
Yes,
if it was mine, I would gladly
yes,
be all that I own. You've been so
yes,
good to me. You know, I want to know
yes,
your name.
absolutely.
And I used to call this guy the crying singer when he said, oh, 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 oh.
Yes. And even when you, Brother Canty, even when you say that, now it's the beat, it's the beat, and you don't need to know the words. Where growing up for me, it was the words. I don't
Yeah,
necessarily remember the quote, the beat. It was the word. So
yeah,
divine. Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was the breaking point for all of us as the words came out. Um, a chair is not a chair. A house is not a home. You know, those words alone. My girl. You know,
Hmm.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
These little songs, that come from
Hmm.
all types walks of life, itself. They meant something. They meant something to us. There was meaning to the song. They all had good beats, but there was meaning to the lyrics of the song.
Meaning to the songs. Correct. 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 Well, I want to say thank you, brother Canty. We're going to talk a little more and see how we can have you as one of our weekly contributors, because you have a wealth of information from one wall to the next that you can give out to our listeners here on Tea and Conversation. Again, thank you so much for joining me this morning. If there's any last minute things that you would like to add for this morning.
Well, in our closing today, I just want the audience to realize that we are strong and powerful people. We need to support each other. It's not always about the dollar. I need to repeat that. It's not always about the dollar. Support your brothers and sisters just because they need your support.
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Hmm.
Don't tell me, oh, don't put your hands on my child. Well, guess what? You're going to have to fight with me because I'm going to put my hand on her or him if they're out of place so I can correct them. I'm not going to hurt them, but I will snatch them. Okay, I'm from the old school, so if you want to fight with me after I correct your child, put on the gloves. I see those knuckles. I've been doing this for 40, 50 years, so we can do that. But I'll still love you. I'll still love you. Grand rising to the audience.
Hmm.
Peace to the ancestors.
Absolutely. Peace to the ancestors. Again, I want to show this beautiful shirt, the unique umbrella effect. Thank you so much for sponsoring our Black
And the
Business
Royal
Festival with,
Royal Blossom Pineapple
yeah,
Royal Blossom Company. My side.
yeah, one of my favorite, one of my absolute favorite, and I love the direction that he's going in, and he's going to be continue to be amazing, great in that Royal brand. I can see it in stores all across the country in the future, and I pray that God just continue, the Creator continue to guide him and show him the direction and the way. And again, I want to thank everyone for joining us, Tea and Conversation Live. And don't forget to, if you have not already, let me say it, let me say it, let me say it. Black Business Bus Tour, Black Business Bus Tour, April 19, 2025. Seats are only $20. You can give me a call at 813-394-6363, or you can cash app Black Business Bus Tour as well and reserve your seats for our bus tour April 19th. Thank you so much, Brother Canty, for joining us this morning. Much love. Peace, brother.
Ashe.
Ashe.